Hi, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm going to try and solve yesterday's Diabolical rated puzzle, which appeared in the Daily Telegraph. It comes out in the UK every Friday. Those of you familiar with the channel will know that I rate this as the hardest regularly appearing newspaper puzzle anywhere in the world. It normally takes quite some effort, can involve any number of techniques, so let's see how we go with it. I will start off with standard technique, by which I mean that in 3x3 blocks, if I identify just two positions where a number can go, you can see the 8s in this block can only go in these two cells, then I'll make little pencil marks. Now that might not be enough to solve this puzzle, because the Diabolical Sudoku is very difficult, but we'll see how we go. Now, 7s. Where can we put a 7 in the central 3x3 square? You can see there's actually only one position, and that's this one. All the others are ruled out by the 7s in these 4 places around the grid. And now this 7 and this 7 mean this must be a 7. And in fact, so must this, because the 7s here are forcing the 7 into row 9 of the grid in this 3x3 block, and this cell, this 7 here, is forcing it over one more. So now this must be a 7, and I think we're done on the 7, so that's a good start. You can see 4s here, so there's a 4 in one of these two positions. And in one of these two positions, because of this 4 here and this 4 here. So now this can't be a 4 anymore. Let's put the 4 in there. And in fact, in the central 3x3 block, we have a 4 here and a 4 here, and this 4 here. So this square has got to be a 4. And the 3s here, 3, 3. So there's a 3 in this square. Now, the moment I place that 3, I immediately can place the 4 as well, because I knew that the 4 was in one of two positions. So once I know one of those two positions is used up, the other must be true. So now this can't be a 4, and this is a 4. So this is a good start, to be honest. We've made some progress relatively efficiently. This 9 here is forcing pencil mark 9s. I don't know if you've noticed it, but if you look at the columns in the central 3 columns of the grid, we've got no numbers 1, 8 or 9 in any of them. So those numbers are clearly fairly unrestricted. We do have a couple of 9s there that we can use to place, and this 1 as well. So we can actually get a 1-9 pair down in the bottom 3x3 there. So there's a 1 in one of these two squares, and this must be 5 and 6 into these two squares. And so we're left with placing 2 and 3 in column 3. Now you can see this square here cannot contain a 2. So it's going to have to be a 3. That means that one's got to be a 2. And that's nice, because now we have 2, 2. This square's got to be a 2. Oh no, not that one. I didn't mean to press that one. I meant to press that one, because we have a 2 and a 2 there. Right, what next? Where can we place a 6 in row 9? You can see we need to put a 6 in, but there's a 6 here in column 6 and a 6 here in column 9, so this can't be a 6 and this can't be a 6. So the only place left that can be a 6 is that one. And that gives us another number. That's got to be a 6 as well, because this 6 is forcing the 6 upwards in the central 3x3. So that gives us a 6-8 pair there, look. And that means we need a 3 and a 5, I think, to complete this block. And a 3 there means this is going to have to be the 3, and this is going to be the 5. And that means we've got a 1-9 pair in the central 3x3 block. So that's a really nice start, to be honest. Yes, it is a nice start. Oh, there's a fly, go away. because if we look at the bottom row of the grid, we also have a 1, 9 to place in the bottom row. So I'm going to just divert from the pencil mark system I have been using here, because you can see if I place the 1, 9s here, it makes it really obvious what's going on in column 6. We have a 1, 9 pair in the column, as well as 4 place numbers, 2, 4, 6 and 7. So in effect we know approximately the positions of 6 numbers in column 6. The only numbers we're missing are 3, 5 and 8. And there's a 3 here, so this can only be a 5 or an 8. I'm tempted to switch now, just to label cells. If I can identify that cells are very restricted, I might, yeah, in fact that's got to be a 3 or a 5, because we have a 6, 8 pair over here. So there's an 8 in one of those two squares. And this top square, that can be 3, 5 or 8, I think. 3, 5 or 8. Let's just check over here, just to check we're not missing a trick. So we need to place 1, 2, 6 and 8. So we get 6's there. We can use uniqueness. So let's just take a look at this. We have a 6, 8 pair there, and a 6 in one of these two squares. So ask yourself the question, is it possible that either this square or this square contain an 8? Now, the reason it's not possible is something to do with the fact that we know that all good Sudoku puzzles have one solution. You shouldn't be able to look at the finished solution and switch numbers round in such a way that the puzzle resolves itself in a different way without affecting anything else. And let me show you what the problem is here. Let's just imagine this square was an 8 in the finished solution. This square here was an 8. Now if that was true, this square would have to be an 8, this would be a 6, and this would be a 6 from the pencil marks we've already got placed. So we would look at the final solution and we would find this 6, 8 pattern existed in it. Now the reason this is problematic is that there is no way that the internal logic of this puzzle can differentiate between this solution and a solution in which we just switch the 8's and the 6's round. So if we switch the 8's and the 6's round, you can see it doesn't affect the numbers of 8's and 6's in the columns, it doesn't affect the numbers of 8's and 6's in the rows, and it doesn't affect the numbers of 8's and 6's in the boxes either, in the 3 by 3 boxes. So there is effectively, these 8's and 6's form their own little puzzle that is completely separated from the rest of the Sudoku. And there is no way that the rest of the Sudoku tells us which way round these 8's and 6's are meant to go to be correct. So we can use that fact to know that in the final solution there cannot be an 8 or a 6. There can be a 6. There cannot be an 8 in either of these squares, because once there is, these pencil marked 6's will force this so-called deadly pattern. So we know, therefore, that the 8's are in those two squares. Now that's probably not going to be that helpful, but I thought I'd mention it because it's certainly something I was spotting there. So we have 6's here, 6's here, so 6 in one of those two positions. And oh, okay, and there's a trick we can do now. Now let's focus on the number 3 in the grid, and if we look, yes, this is lovely actually. If we look this 3 and this 3 and how they interact on this 3 by 3 block, you can see that they force 3's into one of 3 positions, those 3 positions that I've highlighted, sort of on the corners of the 3 by 3. But now if we look at where a 3 can go in row 5, 3 can go here, obviously, can't go here, but it can go here. So now I'll add some highlighting at the end of the video, but you can see these 3's form a sort of square pattern going round like this. And that allows us to do some nice logic thinking about this 3 by 3 block. So we know that the 3's, they could be in row 1. Either of these 3's could be true. Now if either of these 3's is true, this isn't going to be a 3. We could remove the 3 from this square. But what is the implication if, on the other hand, the 3's are not in the first row? They're in column 9 in this 3 by 3 block. And we know they're either in row 1 or column 9, but let's imagine they're in column 9. Watch what happens. Because of this square pattern, this won't be a 3 anymore. It can't be a 3. Therefore, the 3 will be shifted in row 5 over into this square. And again, this can't be a 3. So either way round, because of this sort of square pattern round the grid, this square cannot contain a 3. Now, we've looked at this before. In fact, I think I did a video just the other day which looked at a similar thing to this. This is technically called an empty rectangle pattern. But here it's really nice to spot it because it's just coming round in this sort of square pattern round here. There's nothing particularly clever that we need to notice, and it was more obvious than it is usually because the 3's were locked into these positions, and I don't think it's too difficult to see that, you know, it's a binary outcome. Either the 3 is in one of these, or it's in row 1 here, or it's in column 9, and we can do some simple logic to therefore eliminate this 3 from there. Now, if we look at column 6, we've now got 2 pairs, haven't we? We've got this 1-9 pair and the 5-8 pair now. So there's only one square left that can contain a 3. That's that one. Now that might be useful. You can see that now there's only one square left in this 3 by 3 block that can contain a 3. And that's this one, because we've got a 3 here as well, eliminating the 3 from that square. And the moment I place the 3 here, I can also place the 1 because of the earlier pencil marks. Let's eliminate that 3. 1, 1. So what am I left with here then? Is it 5 and 9? Yes, 5 and 9 into those 2 positions. Okay. I feel like I'm missing something obvious here. I suppose these 2 positions as well. These must be a 5 and an 8 into those 2 squares. 1, 9, 5, 8 down here. 3, 3, 3's. This has got to be a 3. That means this is a 3 up at the top here, and the top. Oh no, it's not a 2. Go away, fly! God, there's the most enormous fly on the screen. Sorry if you can. I don't think you can see it, but maybe you can see it on the video. Right, don't get distracted. So what does this mean? This 3 here. No, let's just check column 7 here. We need to place 1, 6 and 9 down the column. No, that's no good. But what we can do, what we can do is where can we place a 9 in column 5? Look, we have a 9 here, so there can't be a 9 in this square. We found the 5-8 pair here, so this isn't a 9 either. So the 9 is locked into one of those 2 squares. So this square, which we'd identified as being a 1 or a 9, can no longer be a 9. So we can remove that. That means this is a 1. That means this is a 9. This is a 1. Now, we may have cracked it, I think. When you get this sort of, several numbers in a row at this point, it's normally a sign that the puzzle is falling over. You can see we're making very good progress all of a sudden. That's going to have to be a 9, I think. Yeah, so we've just made very rapid progress. Now we can place a 1. If we look at where we can place a 1 in this 3 by 3 block, this one and this one interact to force the 1 downwards into this square. Then we can go over here and resolve this. This must be 1 and 6 just because of the pencil marks that we had. That gives us the 6 and the 8. Let's remove this. What do we need in here? Is it a 2? Yeah, so that's a 2 and that's an 8. 5, 8. This must be a 5 or an 8, I think. Which means this square here, if everything's working out, should be a 2. Yeah, that looks right. 2, 2. That means this one's got to be a 2. You can see that means we're going to be able to, in fact this has to be a 1, it's the only place a 1 can go. That resolves the 1 and the 9 over there. That means that's a 9. 5 and 8 still to place here. So this now is the 8, and that's going to finish the puzzle. So there we go. Not terribly difficult today. That felt like a reasonably efficient solve, assuming I haven't made a mistake. Let's just check before I sort of speak too soon. Now, if everything's gone well, this should be an 8. Yes, that looks right. Okay, so there we go. Very, very nice way of making our way through the puzzle there, and a lovely trick up in this corner. So we used a uniqueness over on the left-hand side, and then the empty rectangle over on the top right-hand side. So I hope you got something out of the video. It helps to improve your own solving of these more difficult puzzles. If you enjoy the channel, please do subscribe. We really appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up, send us your comments. If you have any puzzles you'd like us to solve on the channel, then do send them to us. Just take a photo of them and email them to us at crackingthecryptic@gmail.com, or you can tweet them at us at @crypticcracking. And yeah, if we have time, we'll certainly try and show you how to do them on the video. So thanks for watching. We'll be back soon with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.